So some more updates coming out of Microsoft for starters concerning the Xbox Game Pass, which I did a video on a few days ago where they're launching basically the Netflix of video games. Microsoft has struck a deal with 2K Games, and several new titles have shown up now in the vault, including BioShock, BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite, Borderlands, NBA 2K16, WWE 2K16, and XCOM. So the library continuing to get stronger, and if they keep that up, it's going to be hard not to jump on board. The real issue is going to be finding the time to play all those games. Media is also reporting that it's also been confirmed that the Scorpio will have a 4K Blu-ray player in it, which I don't think is too much of a surprise considering they made such a big deal about the PS4 Pro not having one whenever they decided to put one into the Xbox One S. They're also saying that even on a 1080p TV, games will look much better on Scorpio thanks to super sampling and anti-aliasing. But clearly, they are getting ready to market this as a, quote, true 4K machine. This week, Scorpio showed up on the Microsoft Store. Now, you can't currently pre-order it, so we still don't know how much it is, but you can sign up for an email that they'll send out whenever it goes live. Chances are, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll probably find out before they send you an email. The description reads, the most powerful console ever with 6 teraflops of graphical processing power, the first and only console to enable true 4K gaming and high-fidelity virtual reality. We'll come back to that one in a minute because I know some people are going to be pissed about that. And it's compatible with all Xbox One games and accessories, which means, yes, it will support Kinect. I think the real question, though, is Microsoft gonna support Kinect? I still can't believe we have barely any games that you can do the very basic thing that I thought you would be able to do with Kinect, which is scan yourself into a game, which is a feature that you could do all the way back on the Xbox 360. I remember titles like Rainbow Six being able to do that. And I also would like to see games that implement Cortana in the game, where you can talk naturally like the characters. Like say you were playing an RPG and you wanted to have a conversation that's like natural. I mean, they show this type of stuff all the time whenever they're doing business type videos with Microsoft using Cortana and things like that, and they're working on their artificial intelligence. But I would like to see it implemented more in games. I know there's some games that you can give commands to, like Forza and things like that, but they're so basic, you probably could have done that on the Xbox 360. But going back to the statement, which I think a lot of people are going to find controversial, the point about being the first and only console for true 4K gaming. Many will rightfully point out that there are a few games that claim to be native 4K on the PS4 Pro, so how can Microsoft be the only console that's true 4K gaming? But with the Pro, if you look at Digital Foundry, which seems to be the place everybody goes now for these sorts of analysis, they've said, and I quote, curiously, we've discovered that quite a few titles said to be running at native 4K were clearly and obviously not handing in anything like the required pixel count. And so what they're finding whenever they run these games through their software is that a lot of the games claiming to be 4K aren't really using the correct number of pixels, or, you know, they're softer around the edges. It's upscaling parts, and they're not using high-end textures that you would find like on the PC, for instance. So far, they said they've only found 10 pure native 4K 60 frames per second games, with the vast majority of those being indie titles, games that you probably haven't even ever heard of, and honestly, they look like they could have been designed for the PlayStation 2. A few sports titles are in there, but those titles also aren't demanding on the PC. A lot of those games you can play with mid-range PCs on 4K. So I'm guessing Microsoft is saying that unlike the PS4 Pro, where native 4K is kind of the exception and not the norm, native 4K will be the norm on the Scorpio. Still, as you've heard me say many times before, curious how this is going to work out. I was just reading an article earlier talking about Ghost Recon, which is one of the latest games that just came out, and it's not that unoptimized, I don't think anyway, but it does have a ton of extra features. It actually has some things in it that you won't find in many games, but even on the latest GPU that just came out, the GTX 1080 Ti, one of the best cards, if not the best card you can buy on the market right now. Even if you try to turn everything on Ultra, this has twice almost as many teraflops as a Scorpio, and it still can't do ultra 4K 60 frames per second with all the options on. So there's gonna have to be some cuts somewhere, but regardless, this is the angle Microsoft is definitely gonna push. They've also mentioned high fidelity VR, which obviously is a punch down to the PlayStation VR. And we've talked about a few videos ago the number of manufacturers that Microsoft is working with when it comes to VR. So definitely some interesting news there. Stay tuned to videogamesandnews.com for the latest gaming headlines. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.